This video is sponsored by Squarespace. More about them later. There's nothing in the natural world as beautiful or as mysterious as the bird. Birds come in all shapes and sizes, each one a unique and perplexing creature with its own biology. In fact, sometimes you might not even know you're looking at a bird without the expert eye of a birdologist. That's why I, Dr. Flygon HG, world-renowned birdologist, have created this video to teach you all about the various birds of the Kanto region. And to show their true prowess, I'll be using these birds to complete a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon FireRed. In a Nuzlocke, if a Pokémon faints, it's dead forever.
Bird fact number 1.
Despite popular belief, birds are not cats, so each of our feathered friends only has one life. The rest of my hardcore Nuzlocke rules are shown here and in the description down below. But with that, it's time to soar into the wonderful world of birds. Our journey begins in Pallet Town, where I get to choose my starter. Bulbasaur? More like Bulbabore. Squirtle? Pfft, I'd rather die than use this bald loser. But Charmander? Yeah, Charmander's the real deal. Welcome to the team, Cardinal. Now, some of you may be confused since Charmander doesn't look like a bird, but this brings me to
bird fact number 2.
Most birds hatch as reptiles and don't gain wings until adolescence. It's called Darwinian evolution, look it up. And it's also why you've never seen a baby bird. Since Cardinal won't be able to evolve into a bird for many more level caps, I have to box him as soon as we get our second encounter, a Pidgey from Route 1. Oh great, a Pokemon that doesn't like to fight. Super useful in the game where you force Pokemon to fight to the death. I named Pidgey Ren for reasons that should be pretty obvious, and she becomes our solo team member. But not for long, because on Route 22 I catch a Spearow named Woodpecker, who is better than Ren in every conceivable way. Spearows get a bad rap after being vilified in the first episode of the Pokemon anime, but they can be quite sweet and very loyal.
Bird fact number 3.
Birds save approximately 1,500 lives every year. In Viridian Forest, I catch an adamant-natured Caterpie named Duck. After a few levels, he evolves into a Butterfree, a rare breed of bird that disguises itself as an insect to give prey a false sense of safety. This is just one example of birds being nature's most fearsome predators.
Bird fact number 4.
In 1941, President Roosevelt attempted to use birds as soldiers in World War II. The project was quickly abandoned, however, because the birds were too good at war and were starting to scare the other US troops. With all the eligible encounters obtained, it's time for the fight against Brock for the first gym badge, but I've got some bad news.
Bird fact number 5.
Birds do not like getting hit by rocks. Weird, I know. Fortunately, Brock is a pretty lousy trainer, and his lead Geodude's only moves are Tackle and Defense Curl. He also loves to spam the latter, so Duck can hit him with a Poison Powder and a Confusion without taking any damage. Then I switch to Ren. She loses a bit of HP before Geodude ultimately falls a few turns later, and the XP from taking him out gets Duck to level 15, where he learned Sleep Powder, an incredibly important asset in defeating Onix, and approximately 85% of the rest of the game. But the first step is to hit the Freudian Rock monster with a few sand attacks before switching back to Duck. Unfortunately, Onix connects with a bind before our second sand attack, which means that Ren is locked in for at least a few turns. And since Onix seems to be ignoring Ren's sand attacks, he immediately follows it up with a Rock Tomb that brings Ren all the way down to 1 HP. It's an impressive survival, or rather an indictment of how terrible Onix is, but sadly it means nothing as bind damage takes her out.
Bird fact number 6.
Onix is an asshole. Duck comes out for revenge and lands a 97.5% accurate Sleep Powder to put him to sleep. On the next turn, Confusion does a solid chunk of damage as Onix continues to snooze. And then Duck cuts the battle short by landing a critical hit to knock out Onix and win us the very first gym badge. It's sad to lose a teammate so early, but it was a necessary price to pay for our victory. On our way to Cerulean City, I stop by the Poké Center on Route 4 where a dubious man sells me a Magikarp, which, believe it or not, also evolves into a bird. But I won't be using Gyarados for this playthrough, so she goes to the box where she'll live out the rest of her days in peace. Or in solitary isolation. I don't really know how the PC system works, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. But who does join the team is a Zubat from Mount Moon named Crow.
Bird fact number 7.
A surprising amount of birds can drink human blood to survive, and 7 species actually prefer to drink human blood. As our throuple faces off against Misty, Woodpecker has fully evolved into Fearow, though I actually lead with Duck into Misty's Staryu. Duck's pretty much a one-trick pony at this point. Sleep Powder puts his enemy to sleep, and then Confusion slowly takes them out, hopefully before they wake up. A few turns later, Staryu falls, and Duck's only taken damage from a single Water Pulse. Unlike with her lead, Misty immediately goes on the offensive with her final Pokemon Starmie. A Water Pulse hits hard and confuses Duck, but a held Person Berry means that he can safely put the Sea Star to sleep with a Sleep Powder. That gives me a safe switch to Woodpecker on Starmie's first turn of sleep. And with amazing luck, Woodpecker is at full HP as he takes the KO with a Secret Power a few turns later. That's badge number 2. In Vermilion City, I can trade a random Spearow to a little girl in exchange for her Farfetch'd, who becomes teammate number Oh, Chiding? What kind of dog nickname is that? Fortunately, my Uncle Jimtendo can help me give him a far more respectable nickname. But now it's time to face off against Lieutenant Surge, a deeply unwell man that uses electric types. I was pretty worried about this fight. All 3 of Surge's Pokemon are quite speedy and have stabs shockwaves to deal massive damage to all of my— Nevermind, Woodpecker sweeps the entire gym with Secret Power without taking any damage at all. Well, great! The journey through Rock Tunnel is treacherous, and the road is reckless because there are a bunch of unavoidable trainers with defensively strong Rock-type Pokemon. If you remember
Bird fact number 5.
My team is quite weak to rock types, and we don't have an easy way to quickly take them out. My best bet is to use Bite with Crow, who has now evolved into Golbat. With the Gen 3 physical special split, Bite can take advantage of their mediocre special defense stats and has the chance to flinch. It also helps that random trainers waste a lot of time going for moves like Defense Curl, but even so, I just have to get lucky and hope that the AI doesn't get a poorly timed critical hit. They don't, so I make it to Celadon City, safe and sound. There, I can get a coin case and head to the game corner to purchase some coins. These coins can be used to buy a new team member, but right now I don't have enough for either of the 2 eligible encounters, Dratini and Scyther. Like with Gyarados, I decided that I won't be using Dragonite, but sweet little Scyther here is in need of a good home.
Bird fact number 8.
Birds are capable of having close emotional bonds with their owners and have even been known to die of heartbreak when abandoned. Scyther, buddy, I promise that as soon as I have the money to adopt you, I'll be right back. Just hold tight, little fella. You'll be home soon enough. On Route 16, I catch a Doduo, a Pokemon that, along with its evolution, bravely asks the question, what if the Spearow-Fearow line, but better? Seriously, they really shafted Fearow. Hold up, over 60 miles per hour? Damn, I wonder what insane dex entry Dodrio has. With 5 different birds on the team, 6 if you're going by head count, Erica's grass types are a total joke. I let Crow deal with them so that we don't have to put up with potential poison powders. Several wing attacks later, and badge number 4 is ours. Wait a minute, badge number 4? 4 is what people say when playing golf. Golf is often played by people who are old. Old is the opposite of young. Young is what the German synth pop band Alphaville in 1984 said they wanted to be forever. Forever is longer than an hour is a unit of time, and time is what you'll save by using the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. Squarespace is an online platform that helps you build and manage your own website, whether that's an online store for your business or a personal blog for your thoughts. Using their all-in-one platform and customizable templates, it's quick and painless to easily create professional and polished websites. And with their new Fluid Engine design system featuring drag-and-drop technology, it's easier than ever before to fine-tune every single detail of your website. For example, I used Squarespace to launch poppyhg.com in no time at all. Now the entire world has a one-stop destination to find curated pictures of my corgi puppy Poppy. She just turned 2, so wish her happy birthday in the comments. Squarespace also has a ton of other really useful features, like analytic information about the traffic of your website, and Squarespace member areas, which can be used to connect with audiences and create exclusive members-only content. So if you're looking to start a website for your business or hobby, then you should absolutely check out squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch your website, you can use my custom link to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to the challenge. There's a massive stretch of gameplay before we can take on the last 4 gym leaders, featuring one of my personal favorite interactions in the entire series, this Mickey Mouse rocket grunt. Oh no, I dropped the lift key! Well, pick it up, dude! The level cap is also high enough that Cardinal can now evolve into Charizard and become our 6th team member. Oh, and my friendship with Crow has developed to the point where he evolves into Crobat. Just kidding, I can't evolve Golbat into Crobat until I get the National Dex in the post-game, which is a little stupid, but I guess I can respect the creative decision to keep the game to the original 151 Pokemon. But then, why on earth would you code Golbat to try and evolve at every single level? I mean, in a franchise drowning in an Olympic-sized swimming pool of dumb decisions, this has to be one of the dumbest because there is no way that this is intentional, right? Right? There's a few fights against my rival Ground throughout this chunk of the game, but even in Silphco, he's still not much of a threat to my team. The same is true for Giovanni, since Duck has learned Giga Drain, courtesy of Erica, to one-shot his otherwise fairly problematic rock types. After saving the world, or rather this massive corporation, yay capitalism, I go click Drill Peck with Cuckoo, now a Dodrio, into all 4 of Sabrina's Pokemon.
Bird fact number 9.
Many species of birds have beaks strong enough to cut through steel beams. Sabrina's skinny nerds don't stand a chance against our 3-headed king. Beating her first is a little out of order, but I'm already in town, so whatever. Plus, it's a straight shot back to Fuchsia City with the power of flight.
Bird fact number 10.
There are 2 types of birds. Birds that can fly, and liars. Never trust a penguin if you know it's good for you. Against Koga, Duck uses his psychic powers to pop the tiny minds of his poison-type enemies. Both of Koga's coughings and his muck go down before they know what hit him. Wheezing is last, and I don't think a single psychic will get the job done, so I decide to just put him to sleep with a sleep powder and not risk a potential crit or an early wake-up. I switch into Crow, who does decent damage with a few wing attacks, but after a couple smoke screens, I just switch into Cardinal as Koga heals. A flamethrower leaves Wheezing with a sliver and a burn, so Cardinal just needs to shrug off a sludge, and then burn damage wins us our 6th gym badge. With that, it's off to Cinnabar Island, where our final teammate, Aerodactyl, awaits. Welcome to the team, Albatross. Sadly, that means boxing tit, but if my history with Farfetch'd is anything to go off of, it's better this way. Enjoy retirement, buddy. After training up Albatross to be on par with the rest of the team, she and Cardinal are able to easily cull through Blaine's fire types. In fact, the only Pokemon I was mildly concerned about gets one-shot by a critical hit Ancient Power. Great debut, Albatross. We're gonna need that level of performance from everyone to survive the late game, because we've got some pretty serious threats on the horizon. The final fight against Giovanni is all that stands between us and the Pokemon League, and Duck wants it bad. Giga Drain kills both of Giovanni's Rhyhorns, which are conveniently the first 2 Pokemon baited out thanks to our quad rock-type weakness. Dugtrio is 3rd, and we somehow outspeed him to get a 3rd one-hit kill. Nidoqueen is too tanky to one-shot with Psychic, and she fires back with a Body Slam that paralyzes, so not wanting to risk a crit, I swap to Albatross. Without getting another paralysis, she can outspeed and take out the Queen with a wing attack. That just leaves Nidoking, but his best bet is a resisted Thrash for a tickle of damage. 2 wing attacks are enough to take him out and win us an easy 8th gym badge. Just like that, my team of birds has made it to the Pokemon League, where the Elite Four and Champion eagerly await. This is going to be more than a little tricky, especially with Lorelei and her ice types threatening with big early knockouts. But my 6 warriors, all leveled up to the level cap of 60 to match Lance's Dragonite, are ready to do whatever it takes. For birds the world over, let's do this. Arguably, the most challenging of the Elite Four members is first. Lorelei's Pokemon are all quite tanky and hit 5 of my 6 Pokemon for super effective damage with Ice-type attacks.
Bird fact number 11.
Birds hate the cold and will travel very long distances to avoid it in a seasonal movement called irrigation. Wait, what? Oh, it's migration? Okay. Sorry, I'd like to rescind
Bird fact number 11.
Because the seasonal movement of animals from one region to another is called migration, not irrigation. Accuracy in my videos is of the utmost importance to me. Anyways, against Lorelei's lead Dewgong, I decide to go with the best of the best, Little Duck the Butterfree. With Sleep Powder, he can put Dewgong to sleep and then hopefully get off a free Sunny Day on the next turn to set himself up for one-turn Solar Beams. Sadly, after using Sunny Day, Dewgong gets an early wake and hits a nasty Ice Beam, though thankfully we survive. So we can put Dewgong back to sleep with another Sleep Powder. This time Dewgong takes a longer snooze, so Duck can take her out with a combination of Giga Drain and Solar Beam without taking any more damage. So things are going pretty well, but the longer Duck stays in, the more I'm risking unfortunate RNG. Compound Eyes does drastically improve our accuracy with Sleep Powder, but even with the 30% increase, there's still a 2.5% chance to miss. A single miss or a critical hit from our opponents could spell disaster for Sweet Duck. And with Slowbro coming out second, we gotta run it back again. A Sleep Powder puts him to sleep as the harsh sunlight fades. Duck hits a fairly strong Giga Drain to get back even more HP, but then Slowbro wakes up early and goes for Amnesia. A fourth Sleep Powder once again connects, and Slowbro generously stays asleep for a second turn as Duck sets up a Sunny Day. This means that we're safe to fire off a Solar Beam, but it leaves Slowbro with just a sliver, letting her wake up and hit Duck with a Yawn. This puts us in a lousy position because Lorelei will heal, but if I stay in, Duck will fall asleep at the end of the turn. So I switch to Crow as the tanky Slowbro gets back to full HP. Fortunately, physical Shadow Balls from Crow are enough for a 2-shot onto Slowbro, and since she just sets up another Amnesia, we take the kill without losing any HP. That brings Jinx in third, but with her frail defense, a super effective Shadow Ball is more than enough for the one-shot. Fourth, though, is LaPra, and here things can get scary. I first switch to Cardinal on an Ice Beam, which at the very least only does neutral damage. Then I switch to Duck on a baited Surf. As usual, Sleep Powder comes out next. Every time I click it, my heart skips a beat, thinking that this'll be the time it misses. But so far, Duck is 5 for 5. A Sunny Day comes out next, and LaPra graciously stays asleep for a second turn. An Ice Beam there and Duck is done for, but now at least he has a fighting chance. I go for a Giga Drain to do a chunk of damage to Lorelei's bulky ace and to gain back some HP. Then LaPra wakes up and nails Duck with an Ice Beam that leaves him hanging on for dear life with 19 HP. Duck is a survivor. With the harsh sunlight still beaming bright, I can switch to Cardinal fairly safely. He tanks an Ice Beam, and then with a sun-boosted Flamethrower, he takes the KO. LaPra falls and Lorelei is left with her Cloyster, but her special defense is far too low to survive a sun-boosted Flamethrower, meaning that we've won the battle against Lorelei completely deathless. Long live Duck the Butterfree. And speaking of, he's our lead into Bruno as well. Giga Drain easily gets the one-shot on the first of his 2 Onix. Bruno's second Pokemon is Hitmonchan, and since I had to drop Psychic for Solar Beam, the only thing Duck can do is put his foe to sleep with another Sleep Powder. Then it's off to Cuckoo. Since Hitmonchan stays asleep, we're safe to take the KO with a nasty super effective Drill Peck. And then, much to my surprise, a Drill Peck is a clean one-shot on Machamp as well.
Bird fact number 12.
No amount of muscles or additional appendages can keep you safe from the attack of an aggressive bird. It's best to just use your last moments alive to think of your happiest memory. Hitmonlee folds to a single Drill Peck as well, and then against his Onix, which doesn't know a Rock-type move, I switch back to Duck on the world's saddest Double Edge. Giga Drain here feels like a mercy kill. With that, Bruno is defeated, and we're halfway through the Elite Four. Agatha is third, so it's time to mix up my lead and start with Crow the Golbat. We outspeed to hit Gengar with a Shadow Ball, but it's just shy of the KO. She sets up a double team, so after Agatha heals with a full restore, I switch to using Aerial Ace so that we don't miss. 2 are enough for the KO, which brings in Haunter second. Now she goes down to a single Shadow Ball, so Agatha sends in her stronger Gengar third. Once again, she survives a Shadow Ball, but then simply whiffs a Hypnosis that would have been cured by a held Lumberry anyways. 1 more Shadow Ball, and Agatha's final Ghost-type falls, bringing in Golbat fourth for a classic honor battle. I fire off Aerial Aces, and Agatha goes for Air Cutters. After a few turns, she uses a full restore, and I was worried that Crow would need to concede. But he manages to clutch out a win before getting into any real danger. That just leaves Arbok, but by first switching to Cardinal on an Iron Tail, I can safely bring in Albatross on a Sludge Bomb, who gets a clean KO with Earthquake, winning us the battle. So, last for the Elite Four is the Dragon Master Lance. Lance leads with Gyarados, so it's back to Duck the Butterfree. A Sleep Powder once again connects on turn 1, hopefully letting me switch into Albatross for free without getting intimidated. Unfortunately, Gyarados gets an early wake up, so we get nailed with a Dragon Rage, but then on the following turn a Rock Slide connects for the one-shot. With 90% accuracy, this is definitely a little nerve-inducing, but I don't have any other option because Lance brings in his Aerodactyl second. A miss here would be really bad, but Albatross pulls through and connects for another clean one-shot. That brings out one of Lance's 2 Dragonairs next, so I switch to Cuckoo on a Thunder Wave, which is of course healed by a held Lumberry. We came prepared. With Double Edge, Cuckoo can get a clean one-shot on both of Lance's Dragonairs. The recoil damage hurts, sure, but not nearly as much as what's about to happen next. As Lance brings out his final Pokemon, his Ace Dragonite, Cuckoo has to make the ultimate sacrifice. We need damage on this monster of a Pokemon, and no one's safely tanking an Outrage. So Cuckoo hits Dragonite with a massive Double Edge, putting him into the yellow, and then an Outrage delivers the final blow to our 3-headed compatriot. May you rest in peace, all 3 of you. Albatross comes in to vindictively take out Dragonite with a Rock Slide, winning us the final fight of the Elite Four. Though it's not time to celebrate yet, because we've got one last fight with the champion of the Pokemon League, my rival Ground. He leads with Pidgeot, a brutal reminder of our first fallen teammate. Is this Pidgeot an omen of what's to come, or is he motivation for my team to fight harder than ever to make sure that none of them will join Ren and Cuckoo in the great beyond? Only time will tell, but things start off on a good note as Albatross connects with a Rock Slide for yet another one-hit kill. Her rock typing immediately baits out Ground's Ace Blastoise, so it's time for one last incredible performance from Duck. A massive Hyper Beam comes out, but Duck hangs on in the yellow. Then he connects with yet another Sleep Powder. On the next turn he sets up Sunny Day, and Blastoise keeps snoozing, so time for a Giga Drain. It doesn't do much, but it does heal back a good chunk of HP, and Blastoise turns out to be a pretty sleepy turtle. Another Giga Drain brings Duck back into the green, and Blastoise stays asleep for a 4th turn, which is something that I didn't actually know was possible in Generation 3. Even with the Citrus Berry recovery, on the next turn, Duck knocks out Blastoise with a 1-turn Solar Beam. Like I said, Duck is a survivor. Rhydon comes in 3rd, which means that a single Giga Drain is enough for yet another easy KO. That brings in Arcanine 4th though, right as the harsh sunlight fades. I switch to Cardinal on a flamethrower that still does a nasty chunk of damage. Ground then uses extreme speed for another chunk before Cardinal goes for a dig. We resurface on the following turn for a sizable hit before getting nailed by another surprisingly strong flamethrower. Well played, Ground, well played. With Cardinal nearly at death's door, I switch to Albatross, who tanks a flamethrower only marginally better. But with no burn, we can outspeed Arcanine and get the KO with an Earthquake on the following turn. Alakazam comes out next, but with a single Rock Slide, we get a clean one-hit kill. So my rival is down to his final Pokemon, Exeggutor. And since Woodpecker hasn't gotten a chance to do anything in the Elite Four, I figured it'd be poetic to let him get the final KO after he carried so much of the early game. Exeggutor hits a Sleep Powder on the switch, but it's fine because we have a Lumberry. Or at least I thought we did. Well, it's fine, we can just stay in until Woodpecker wakes up. Exeggutor misses an Egg Bomb on our first turn of sleep, but then we wake up on the next turn, and with one final Drill Peck, Exeggutor survives in the red. And then connects with a critical hit Egg Bomb. But since we survive, on the next turn, Ground heals and Drill Peck brings Exeggutor back into the red. But then it happens again. But then, with one final Drill Peck, Exeggutor falls, winning us not just the battle, but the entire run. Well, that's about as cut and dry as you can get when it comes to monolocks. Even without Dragonite and Gyarados, things were pretty easy, save for the final fight against Lorelei. But to be honest, that could have been way worse with just a single Sleep Powder miss, so I got very lucky. Regardless, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, thank you so much for watching. As I write this, I'm at a little over 299,000 subscribers, so I don't know if this video will come out right before or right after hitting 300k, but either way, that's a crazy number, and I'm so lucky to get to do what I do and have so many people support me along the way. So to everyone who's ever watched one of my videos, thank you so much. If you're not a part of that approximately 300k, then it'd be great if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel. Or don't, I don't know. But I do know that you should follow me on Twitter and Twitch to keep up with streams of my future ROM hack challenges. You should also subscribe to my highlights channel to get highlights of the challenge I'm currently streaming before it's cut down to a video on the main channel. And you should consider subscribing to my Patreon or becoming a channel member on YouTube, which are the best ways to directly support the channel. The links to everything are in the description below. Stay tuned for more Nuzlocke videos, and until then, remember to always play around the critical hit.